If this message has found you, it's because the cycle is about to complete, and no soul escapes what it came to transform. There are times when the pain tightens in silence, and no matter how much the world goes on, inside you, something won't let go. A memory, a name, an invisible bond that insists on pulsing, even when everything seems to say it's over. You feel that he feels, but he pretends he doesn't, and that hurts. It hurts because your soul knows it's not just any connection. It's not need, it's not attachment, it's calling, it's mission, it's mirror, it's soul recognizing soul in a time when almost no one sees themselves. And while he runs from what he feels, you carry alone a story that didn't start alone. If you've made it this far, breathe, because nothing is by chance. This message is not just a video, it's a mirror, and what will be said here may awaken memories you tried to bury, but that the soul never forgot. If this introduction has already begun to touch your heart, subscribe now. This channel is not about content, it's about spiritual rescue. Share with those who feel, with those who seek, with those who also can't explain, but feel deep in their soul that something greater is happening. Today, we're going to talk about the moment when spiritual truth starts knocking at the door of the soul that fled. His soul, the one that ran, that denied, that hid what it felt, but now is beginning to realize it can't hide anymore, because karma has returned, and it has returned with a name, with eyes, with presence. You, yes, you are his karma, but not his punishment. You are the mirror he tried to break, because he wasn't ready to see himself. You are the healing he resisted, because his pain spoke louder. But now, the universe is closing in, and it's no longer possible to hide what was written in the light even before this life began. Do you feel it? The movement? The dreams? The synchronicities that seem to call his name without you even trying? That's right. When the soul is ready, the universe doesn't need to shout. It whispers. It sends signals. And if you're listening now, it's because this is your sign. Today, we're going to dive deep into the energy of the truth that can no longer be avoided, into the pain that returns not to hurt, but to be seen, into the love that insists, not to bind, but to free, because what is about to happen is bigger than both of you. It's a reunion of mission. It's a soul portal. It's karma and healing staring into each other's eyes. And this changes everything. You are not here by chance. Neither is he, nor this story that insists on living within you. Everything has its time, and maybe the time is now. You feel that something is changing. Deep down, where words can't reach, a part of you already knows that he feels it too. Even from afar, even silent, even pretending he has moved on. And that unsettles you, because no matter how much you try to accept, turn the page, touch life, something inside you calls for him with an unexplainable force. It can only be felt. You wonder why he distanced himself, what happened between that gaze that seemed to promise everything, and the silence that now seems to say nothing. You relive scenes, remember details, analyze signs, and even so, you find no peace, because the question that pounds in your mind has no clear answer. Did he forget you? Or is he desperately trying not to remember? There are days when his absence weighs more than his presence, because it's not just longing, it's a feeling of unfinished mission, as if you both were written into each other, but in languages you still don't know how to decipher. And in the meantime, the pain settles in, doubt consumes, and the heart still waits. You try to move on, to occupy yourself, to disguise, but the universe insists, sends signals, songs, names, numbers, dreams, and every time you try to let go, something brings you back, because this bond is not mental, it's spiritual, and no matter how much you fight, it exists on a plane where time and logic don't rule. It exists where love doesn't fade, it only silences, waiting for consciousness. Maybe you're at this point in the journey, between wanting to forget and not being able to deny, between the exhaustion of waiting and the call of the soul, between the pain of separation and the faith that there is still something to be lived. And this internal crossroads hurts, because the mind asks for protection, but the heart asks for answers. And in the midst of this conflict, a truth begins to emerge. You are his karma. You are the story that returns, the lesson that wasn't completed, the wound that needs to be healed, not with words, but with awareness, because he felt you, he saw you, and that's why he ran away, not from you, but from himself, from what awakened when he looked at you, from what trembled inside when he touched you, and you're left with what he didn't know how to handle, with the baggage he didn't want to carry, with the love he didn't have the courage to honor. And even so, you still feel, because this is not about romance. It's about soul, mission, mutual healing, reconnection with what was separated a long, long time ago. Does he think of you when the city falls silent? Does the name that echoes within him belong to you? Is this distance really a choice? Or is it fear disguised as protection? Can soul love really end? Or does it just sleep until both are ready? And you, are you ready? These questions are not rhetorical. They are portals. Because when you start to truly question, with your soul open, the universe begins to respond. But not always in the way you expect. Sometimes, the answer comes in silence. Other times, in chaos. Because the path of truth is rarely linear, and the twin flame love is never ordinary. Not everything that seems like an end is an end. Sometimes, it's just the universe clearing the way for a new beginning. And maybe this new beginning starts now, here, in you. The pain of abandonment is not just in their absence. It's in the echo that remains inside you. In that silent hole that no answer fills. In that emptiness that doesn't go away, even when everything seems to return to normal. Because what you lived was never normal. It was energetic. It was ancestral. It was a collision of souls that had an agreement, and that agreement is starting to demand its truth. You are their karma, not as punishment, but as a reflection. You are the mirror they tried to break because they didn't yet have the structure to see themselves. They fled not because they didn't feel, but because they felt too much. They felt things they didn't even know how to name. They felt parts of themselves that they had locked away. You were the awakening that came too soon, while they were still asleep. But the universe has time. And when the time comes, nothing holds it back. Not the ego. Not the escape. Not the distance. The soul calls. But the ego screams. And in that scream, they try to rationalize the irrational. To tell themselves it was just attraction, just confusion, just a moment. But their body remembers. Their energy seeks you. And even if they pretend to forget, their soul does not forget, because you are marked in their field, as a mission, as a portal, as healing. But healing, before being liberation, is confrontation. It's a mirror. It's pain laying bare what was repressed, and you activated this in them. You brought to the surface wounds they tried to bury. You opened gaps where the light began to enter, and when the light enters, it disturbs those who have lived too long in darkness. That's why they pulled away. That's why they acted as if nothing had happened, as if it were easy to erase you. But the truth is, they tried to erase you, because erasing you seemed easier than looking at themselves, because feeling you is feeling everything they have avoided for entire lifetimes. You are not just a person in their life. You are the beginning of the journey back home. But this journey is not light. It tears. It demands. It confronts. Because twin flame love does not come to console. It comes to awaken. And awakening hurts. It hurts because it takes us out of control, out of the script, out of the comfort zone. It hurts because it asks for surrender. And the ego hates to surrender. Soul love doesn't need promises. It needs courage to exist. And courage is what they lack now. But not from weakness, from fear. Fear of losing themselves, of transforming, of letting fall the masks they have worn for so long. You see them too much. You feel them too much. And that scares them. But you also have your pains, your escapes, your resistances. Because deep down, part of you also fears what this love awakens. It's not easy to love someone who doesn't choose you in the now. It's not simple to maintain faith when everything around tells you to give up. But the soul knows, and that's why you are still here, feeling, waiting, intuiting. The universe hears what you don't say. It sees when you cry silently, and it responds, just not always in the way you expect. Sometimes, the answer comes in the form of absence to teach you presence. It comes in the form of silence to teach you listening. It comes in the form of rejection to remind you to choose yourself. You are not alone, and they, as much as they try to seem distant, are also being spiritually pressured. The truth is knocking at the door, and sooner or later, they will have to open it. If any part of this video is stirring something in you, comment here. Write what your soul is trying to say. This is not just a video, it's a mirror for your journey, and every time you share your truth, you help another soul remember theirs. There comes a time when even pain gets tired of hurting, and you feel that you can no longer wait for someone who doesn't know if they'll arrive, that you can no longer continue carrying alone a story written for two. And it's at this point, at this exact point of deep exhaustion, that something begins to change. You realize that their silence, as painful as it has been, came with a purpose. It was not punishment. It was an invitation, a veiled invitation to return to yourself, to listen to yourself, to see yourself beyond them, because their silence is not the end. Sometimes, it's your beginning, the beginning of your healing, of your reconnection with what is yours. And maybe you need to hear this now, with all your soul. Before they return, you need to return to yourself. Before any message arrives, you need to listen to yourself. Because as long as you're waiting for them, you will be absent from yourself. And no true connection is born from absence. It is born from wholeness. It is in retreat that the soul strengthens. It is in pause that the truth reveals itself. You were not made to live in the midst of doubt. You were made to vibrate with clarity. And this clarity begins to emerge when you understand that love does not demand sacrifice of yourself. Loving is not abandoning yourself. It is embracing yourself first. They may even return. And if it's truly a soul connection, they will return one day. But not because you waited. They will return because you let go. Because you stopped hiding in hope and started living your truth. True love does not bind. It flows. It does not beg for presence. It attracts. Surrendering is not giving up. It is trusting. It is letting go of control, not the feeling. When you let go, you exit the prison of waiting and enter the temple of faith. And faith is not passivity. Faith is active courage. It is choosing to love yourself even when the other does not choose. It is staying whole even when everything inside you wants to fall apart. You have come too far in this story to get lost now. You have crossed dark nights, silent tears, quiet waits. You have broken into pieces trying to understand what makes no sense. You have blamed yourself for feeling too much. You have wondered if it was madness, illusion, fantasy. But none of this erases what your soul knows. Love exists, and it exists for a reason. But now, this love needs to change places. It needs to come down from its altar and return to your center. It needs to stop being pain and start being healing. And this healing begins in you. It starts when you understand that you no longer need to diminish yourself to be remembered, that you don't need to prove anything, that you don't need to beg for love where love already knows where it resides. You don't need to chase after those who feel you even from afar, because what is of the soul is not lost. It only transforms. It only changes phases. It only aligns when both are ready. And perhaps, now, the one who needs to be ready is you. Because as long as you are waiting for his key, you will remain locked out of yourself. And the door to your soul only opens from the inside. You are not the part that waits. You are the part that awakens, that lights the way in the midst of abandonment, that, even with a broken heart, chooses to continue, not for him, not for a happy ending, but because your soul knows it did not come this far to lose itself. You have spent too much time seeking answers in him, waiting for him to say something, to do something, to take responsibility for something. But today, something inside you begins to shift, and you feel the answer was never there. It has always been here, in you, in your courage to keep feeling, even without the guarantee of return. in your silence that screams louder than any spoken word. When you come back to yourself, he feels it, even from a distance, even in silence, even distracted by other stories, with other people, with other distractions, because his soul, as you recorded, and when you realign with your center, an energetic wave moves. He may not understand, but he feels, and that is what begins to unsettle him. You don't need to scream to be heard. Your vibration speaks. Your healing communicates. Your light, when it shines for you again, lights beacons in places he tried to darken. And no matter how much he tries to resist, the call of truth begins to echo, because he feels that something has changed. And it truly has. It has changed in you. You have stopped being the one who waits, and you have become the one who chooses, the one who honors, the one who understands that true love does not ask for sacrifice but awareness. And awareness is this: knowing what you deserve, without needing to beg. You are not half of anyone. You are whole. And whoever is your mirror will feel it, will recognize it, will have to face it, because you are no longer chasing. You are walking inward. And this internal movement changes everything around. Your strength is not in convincing him of anything. It is in being, in vibrating what is true, in sustaining your light even when the other is still trapped in shadow. Because in the end, whoever awakens first carries the torch. And this torch is light for you, but it is also a beacon for him. But remember, it is not your mission to wake him up. It is your mission to stay awake. And this requires focus, courage, self-love, faith. It requires you to choose every day not to abandon yourself just because someone still doesn't know how to find you. You are the beginning of his transformation, but he is not the center of yours. Your center is you, and when you occupy that sacred place within yourself, everything changes. The answers come, the pain ceases, the longing calms, because you stop depending on the other to exist. And at this point, you become magnetic, not because you want to attract someone, but because you become an anchor of truth, presence, and real love. And his soul recognizes it. The ego may resist, but the soul always recognizes who came to heal. And you came. Sometimes life seems to take us to the limit, just to show us who we really are. And you are discovering this now, not through logic, but through pain, through longing, through absence that became a mirror, forcing you to look inside, like never before. You did not lose yourself in this love. You found yourself in his absence. The journey of twin flames is not an easy romance story. It is a journey of awakening. An awakening is a process. It has phases. It has losses. It has pauses. It has silences that scream and absences that heal. And no matter how much your ego has screamed for answers, your soul always knew. It knew it was not the end. It knew that something greater was moving behind every misunderstanding. Now you are here, more aware, more whole, more connected to something that may still hurt, but no longer dominates you, because something has changed. The wound has become a portal, the weight has become a mirror, and the longing has become a bridge, no longer for him, but for yourself. You looked at yourself, you embraced yourself, you listened to yourself, and this is what changes everything. Because those who listen to themselves attract what resonates. Those who see themselves begin to be seen, and those who choose themselves teach the other to choose too. Will he come back? Perhaps. Is he feeling you? For sure. But that is no longer the right question. The question now is, have you returned to yourself? Because the true reunion does not happen outside. It happens inside. When you reunite with your light, with your truth, with your mission, everything around begins to align. And what seemed lost starts to return. Not because you asked, but because you allowed it. You don't need to chase a love that the soul already knows. You just need to trust in divine timing, in the flow of healing, in the call of your heart. And when you trust, you don't wait, you live. And to live, with soul, is what activates everything. What is of the soul? Time does not erase. The universe takes care of it. And when you let go, it prepares. Nothing is in vain. Neither the pain, nor the silence, nor the absence. Everything you have lived is serving your expansion, and this is already sacred. If this message spoke to your soul, subscribe now. More is coming, and maybe it's exactly what you need to hear. This channel is your spiritual home, a place where you don't have to pretend to be strong to be welcomed. Here, your truth has space, your pain is sacred, and your process is respected. Tell me in the comments, do you feel that there is still something between you two? Or do you feel that you are finally returning to yourself? Remember, twin flames do not chase each other. They meet when the soul is ready, and maybe that time is closer than you think.